Hunting for shiny legendary Pokemon is already difficult. Imagine hunting for weeks and then realizing that the legendary you want was shiny locked from the start. If you're like me, that's not a good feeling and you've been there at least once. Today I'm going to be giving you a comprehensive, up-to-date list of every shiny legendary Pokemon you can catch on the Nintendo Switch. We're going to cover every single shiny legendary you can get, every game you can get them in, and most importantly, how you can get them for yourself. Welcome to the only guide you'll need for shiny hunting legendary Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. The goal here is simple, to give you a comprehensive, all-in-one resource that's all you need to catch these Pokemon. No unobtainable event Pokemon from years ago, these are Pokemon that you can go and get today. So before we dive in, let's cover the foundation of shiny hunting. The odds. Base odds in Nintendo Switch games are 1 in 4096. It's really difficult. But there is a key item Pokemon's introduced which makes it a lot easier. The shiny charm. That charm triples your odds of getting shiny Pokemon, taking the odds to 1 in 1365. But as we'll see, the shiny charm doesn't work on everything, and its effects on the odds are not the same across all games. So we're going to journey through the Switch's entire library, from Let's Go in Kanto to Scarlet and Violet in Paldea. I'll break down every huntable legendary, the method you're going to use, the odds for that method, and any tricks you can use in-game that are legitimate that boost the odds for that method. We'll cover this on a game-by-game basis, talking about every single Pokemon that's catchable in these regions, and we will also talk about the shiny locked Pokemon so that you don't waste your time hunting for Pokemon that can never be shiny. So let's get started where it all began, and where it began again on the Switch, in the Let's Go games in Kanto. So our first stop is in the beautifully redesigned Kanto region in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. One of the big things that Let's Go did, which was different to so many other games, was it introduced overworld shinies, which meant you could see shiny Pokemon in the overworld for the first time. However, for the legendaries, they were static encounters, and you couldn't actually see them as shiny in the overworld initially. So for this game, we have to go back to a tried and true method, soft resetting. So what is soft resetting? Well, it's pretty simple. You save your game right in front of a static Pokemon, encounter the Pokemon. If it's shiny, catch it. If it's not, reset your game, encounter the Pokemon again, and repeat until it becomes shiny. On the Switch it's really simple, you just press the home button, close the software, and reload the game. Soft resetting is one of the oldest shiny hunting methods we've had for legendaries and starters. It is a true test of patience, and there are 4 Pokemon you can get this way in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. First 3 being the legendary birds, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, and the way you hunt them is exactly the same. You walk up to them, save the game right in front of them, encounter them, and if they're not shiny, you reset your game and load that save file up again. Articuno is found in the Seafoam Islands after completing a Machamp push puzzle. Zapdos is the easiest to find. You surf to the power plant, just walk through the power plant and you'll find Zapdos at the end, and Moltres can be found in Victory Road, on the way to the Elite Four. But that's not all you can get though. The last legendary Pokemon you can get in Kanto is found in Cerulean Cave after you beat the League, that being Mewtwo. In order to catch Mewtwo, you have to go deep in Cerulean Cave and encounter it. Again, save before you actually press A to encounter it, and then soft reset until that purple accent on Mewtwo becomes green. Make sure that your team is appropriate for the legendary though, because unlike other Pokemon, you actually have to battle and beat these legendaries before you get a chance to catch them. The last thing you want is to find a shiny legend, lose the battle, and lose the shiny, because that would be a tragedy. Now let's talk about the odds of getting these shiny Pokemon. The base odds in Let's Go are 1 in 4096. There are ways to increase the odds with catch combos and such, but as we've learned in recent years, catch combos only work on the Pokemon you are catch comboing, and you can't exactly catch combo legendaries. However, after you've beaten the League, there is a chance to get Pokemon like Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres in the overworld. There is a chance that they will appear as rare spawns, and they can appear as shiny. Why does this matter if the odds are still the same? Well, if you have the shiny charm and you've completed the Pokédex, those odds go up to 1365 instead of 1 in 4096. So to catch them, they are easier to find shiny in the wild. However, the chances of them showing up are much lower, so that actually negates the increased odds. With Mewtwo, you only get 1 Mewtwo in the game. So to complete your Kanto Pokédex, you need to have a Mewtwo. Unless you're transferring in from Pokémon Home to complete your Pokédex, you're not going to get the shiny charm before you get Mewtwo. If Pokemon Let's Go was the intro, the real treasure comes in Sword and Shield's DLC, the the Crown Tundra. This single DLC is probably the best method for hunting shiny legendary Pokemon that Pokemon has ever introduced. It is one of the best things that they've done for people that want shiny legendary Pokemon, including a grand total of 38 legendary Pokemon that you can find as shiny. And the method that they introduced it by is really cool as well. It's called Dynamax Adventures, and here's how it works. You and 3 other trainers, either players or NPCs, go into a max lair and take on Pokemon using Pokemon that you rent from the Dynamax Adventures Den. Once you've beaten 3 Pokemon, the 4th one is always a legendary, and all these Pokemon are guaranteed catches with whatever ball you're using once you've beaten them. Why is this so good though? First of all, every single Pokemon you catch, not just the legendaries, has a chance to be shiny. Second, the odds are amazing. Without the shiny charm, which you get for completing the Gala Pokedex, the odds are 1 in 300. It's more than 10 times better than the base odds. And with the shiny charm, those odds go down to 1 in 100, so a 1% chance for any Pokemon you catch to be shiny. And at the end of the lair, if you've beaten the lair, you get 4 Pokemon. Since you catch 4 Pokemon per run, you have 4 separate 1% chances to get a shiny Pokemon. That's roughly 4% chance to get a shiny Pokemon from any run you do with a shiny charm. However, you won't see if the Pokemon is shiny during the battle. You'll only see if it's shiny when you go to review the Pokemon you've caught after you complete the den. So if you see a Pokemon that's not shiny, catch it anyway, it may be shiny on the screen afterwards. This leads to the 2 most important rules of Dynamax Adventures. Number 1, catch everything. If you don't catch it, you never have a chance to see if it's shiny. Number 2, do not take a non-shiny legendary with you if you want a shiny one. Once you've taken one of the legendaries, it won't pop up again in that save file, which means that you have lost your chance to get it shiny. You can always get it again in someone else's save file, but if you're doing this on your own and you want a shiny legendary, do not catch the non-shiny one. And to make the randomness less, once you've encountered a legendary but not caught it, the scientist in front of the max lair can note down up to 3 legendary Pokemon's locations, which means you can actually targeted hunt for legendaries that you want to be shiny. Now here's the best part. There are over 30 available legendaries in Pokemon Sword and Shield's Crown Tundra DLC. 38 to be exact. And these go all the way from Gen 1 legendary Pokemon up to Gen 7. From the legendary birds, Mewtwo, Lugia, Ho-Oh, Kyogre, Groudon, all the way up to the Tapus, Solgaleo, Necrozma, and Lunala, and even the Ultra Beasts once you've beaten the game. There are version exclusives though. These are the version exclusives for Pokemon Sword, so if you're playing Pokemon Sword, these are the ones you can get. And if you are playing Pokemon Shield, these are the version exclusives for Pokemon Shield. However, if you are playing Pokemon Sword or Shield, there is a way to get the other version's Pokemon is by joining someone with the other game. You join in their adventure and you have a chance to get one of the version exclusives from that game. This system is just the most rewarding shiny hunting system we've ever had for legendaries, because not only can you play through with friends, but more than one of you can get a shiny legendary from the same hunt. It's not like you getting a shiny legend is locking your friend out of getting one, which is really nice, and also it gives you access to all the previous gen legendaries, so if you want to get all shiny legendaries on Pokemon Home, this is a great way to do it. However, not all legendaries in Pokemon Sword and Shield are catchable shiny though. Pokemon in the base game, such as Eternatus, Zacian, Zamazenta, and the ones from the Isle of Armor like Kabfu and Urshifu are not available shiny. And the other Pokemon from the Crown Tundra, like Calyrex, Spectlia, Glastria, also not available shiny. However, there are other available shiny legendaries outside of the max lairs. These are the Regis: Regice, Registeel, Regirock, Regidrago, and Regieleki. These are found in temples across the Crown Tundra, and they are available shiny. The way you can shiny hunt them? Well, it's the same as Let's Go. You soft reset. 1 in 1365 odds with the shiny charm, 1 in 4096 without. Once you've gotten all 5 of these, which will require at least 2 games, or you can trade with someone that has the other one, because Regidrago and Regieleki you can only get 1 of in the save file. Once you catch all 5, you can unlock a specific raid den, which allows you to catch Regigigas with the same shiny odds as the others, so you just have to keep doing it until you get it. Alright, we just covered the absolute treasure trove that is the Crown Tundra, and we still have quite a few games to go. If you are enjoying the guide at this point, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss upcoming future guides, and it does help out the channel a lot. But without further ado, let's get into the next games. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. For our return to Sinnoh, it's not quite as easy as it was in the Sword and Shield DLC. We don't have those amazing 1 in 300 or 1 in 100 odds anymore. We're going back to a much more difficult method being soft resetting in Ramanas Park specifically. In the Grand Underground, you can hunt for mysterious items called shards. You can trade these shards for slates. These slates unlock legendary Pokemon. The first ones you'll unlock are Regirock, Regice, and Registeel. You need to have caught them to be able to get the others. However, Ramanas Park does have a lot of legendary Pokemon available. As you can see right here, there are quite a few that you can actually catch in Ramanas Park. So, to be able to get these shiny, again, you need to have unlocked the slate, and then you need to soft reset until you get it shiny. However, the shiny hunting in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is not just locked to the post-game. You can shiny hunt Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, Cresselia, Heatran, Regigigas, and the Lake Trio in the main game. At Spear Pillar, you can soft reset for the main box art legendary. Giratina's at Turnback Cave, Heatran's at Stark Mountain, Cresselia is on Full Moon Island, and the Lake Trio are at their caverns except for Mesprit, who is a roaming legendary, which might be a little bit difficult. It is important to note though, in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, the Shiny Charm functions a little bit differently. It doesn't affect these static Pokemon. It doesn't affect your odds when soft resetting. So even if you have the Shiny Charm, your odds are locked at 1 in 4096. But if you're willing to do it, it may just make getting that legendary Pokemon that much more rewarding for you. And now we come to the last two games in the series, Pokemon Legends Arceus and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And this is where the news gets, well, a little worse. In Legends Arceus, there are only 4 legendaries that you can shiny hunt for. All the main story legends like the Creation Trio, Heatran, Cresselia, and even Arceus itself are shiny locked. Don't even try, it's not gonna happen. However, there are 4 Pokemon that you can shiny hunt for, but there's an asterisk. And I'm talking about the forces of nature. Landorus, Thundurus, and Tornadus, as well as Inamoris. However, these Pokemon need to be chased and caught. These Pokemon need to be chased down in harsh weather conditions, and then you have to see if they're shiny. So it's not like you can just go up to them and soft reset and then find them again. It actually takes effort to chase them down every single time, and even then, you only have a small chance of getting them shiny. So finding the forces of nature shiny in Pokemon Legends Arceus is going to be really difficult. And the most disappointing Pokemon game in this list probably is Scarlet and Violet, because every single legendary you can catch is shiny locked. Miraidon, Koraidon, they're shiny locked. The 4 Treasures of Ruin, shiny locked. But then came the Indigo Disc DLC, and with it, 25 catchable legendary Pokemon via Snacksworth giving you snacks and making them available in the overworld. These have gotta be catchable and not shiny locked, right? Unfortunately not. Pokemon Company decided to shiny lock every single one of these, which means that your chances of getting a shiny legendary in Scarlet and Violet are just 0. I don't know why the Pokemon Company did this, but after Sword and Shield gave us so many good ways to hunt shiny Pokemon in the DLC, they seem to have decided it's not worth giving us ways to hunt shiny legendary Pokemon in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. There was a way recently though. In summer 2025, we did have the Shiny Treasures of Ruin distribution, where we had raid events, and if we beat each Shiny Treasure of Ruin more than 1 million times, then we got the Shiny Treasure of Ruin distribution though. That was a limited time distribution, and after it's done, there's no way to get another shiny legendary Pokemon in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And it's really a shame, because hunting shiny legendary Pokemon is one of the most rewarding things you can do in a Pokemon game, and it's just nice to have in your collection. So for them to take it away from us and take away the opportunity for us to be able to hunt those is really sad for most fans. Our final section though covers a game that's not really a game but more like a platform for storing your Pokemon, Pokemon Home. Because at the moment there are several shiny legendary Pokemon that you can actually get in Pokemon Home just by filling up specific Pokedexes. If you complete the Hisui Pokedex in Pokemon Home, you can get a shiny Inamoris. If you complete the Kanto Pokedex, you can get a shiny Meltan. If you complete the Sinnoh Pokedex, you can get a shiny Manaphy. And if you complete the Galar, Isle of Armor, and Crown Tundra Pokedexes, you can get a shiny Keldeo. So 1 legendary and 3 mythicals that you can get shiny in Pokemon Home. Now I know a lot of people are going to talk about Pokemon Go and how easy it is to get shiny legendaries in Pokemon Go, and I hear you. However, Pokemon Go is not on the Switch. To play Pokemon Go is an entirely different thing than playing any of the Switch Pokemon games. I don't really want to tell people that the easiest way to get shiny legendaries is Pokemon Go, because there are actual real-world considerations, including timing, having other people around, and having to grind your team up quite a bit, which if you haven't been playing Pokemon Go would take a long time. So yes, Pokemon Go is an easy way to get shiny legendary Pokemon, but it's not for people that haven't been playing Pokemon Go up till this point, and it's not something that you can do on the Nintendo Switch. There are significant real world and logistical concerns, so I'm not considering Pokemon Go legendary shinies in this video. So there you have it. Complete up-to-date list of every shiny legendary Pokemon you can get on a Nintendo Switch, and each one that you can't. Let me know down in the comments, what's the legendary that you plan to hunt for next, or what's the most memorable one you've caught? Let me know down in the comments. I do read all of them, even if I don't respond. I try to respond to as many as I can. But if you've enjoyed this video, you might want to check out this video detailing every mythical Pokemon you can get on Nintendo Switch right now. Like I said, I do like to do these guides about the Pokemon you can get today, rather than the ones that are locked to events, so you might enjoy this video. Go on and check it out. I promise you, you won't regret it.